will come down to the earth. The nations will bow to the King as we all come sing your praise. Good morning. Sing your praise in all the earth. Heaven will come down to the earth. The nations will bow to the King as we all come sing your praise. Hey, good morning. How are you? I'm so happy to be alive this morning, and I hope you are happy to be alive too. I know that it's a great privilege to be, and there's just some things that are strong in my heart to just share, and just had to come on live. It's not like I give any notification I'll be coming on live, but it's early Tuesday morning, and some things have been ringing in my heart ever since I had the last live, and even though I've been preparing for many other things, this one just keeps coming back. And then it came back while I was just meditating this morning, and I just felt strong in my heart to come on live and share immediately. Okay, so you're welcome. Good morning. I can see a few people online, and a good morning to you when you're listening to this video again. So I know that the last time I came on live, I talked about strategies for navigating these times and then times of crisis generally. And I talked about three things. I talked about having your answer of peace. I talked about having your instruction of preservation. And I talked about having the answer of progress and the voice of progress, being the voice of progress. And that voice of progress has been coming back to me over and over again. So on Sunday, while I was in church, it just dawned upon my heart that, okay, so talking about the voice of progress, which was me talking about being the answer to many of the problems that are going on. Having the voice of progress is in two forms, and that's what I just want to share quickly. It's in two forms, and I'll show you from scriptures like I saw yesterday and today, this morning. In the script, how will I put it now? Having the voice of progress, being the voice, being the answer, it's in two folds. Number one, we have those, or your voice represented in the spirit realm, because everything that happens in the physical starts from the spiritual. And so if you're going to have a physical voice, there must be a spiritual voice that will raise the physical voice. So if you're seeing anything manifest on earth, in the spiritual realm, a voice was raised and a voice fought through that battle till it now became a physical manifestation. We can think of stories like Daniel's story. You know, he had to raise a spiritual voice, a voice of prayer for answer to come. And we even see from Daniel that there was opposition. So even just raising your voice once may not work. You know, it took 21 days for the spiritual battle or the spiritual transaction to complete before it now became a physical manifestation. So in this season, spiritual voices needs to be raised, and your voice can be, or you can contribute to the spiritual voice. All right, you can contribute to the spiritual interactions that is going to birth the physical manifestations that we will see on earth in this season. Let me say that again. You can contribute your voice to the spiritual interaction that is going on. So when I say voices of progress will be raised, they're not just physical voices, it starts from spiritual voices. So we'll have voices raised in the spiritual realm. We'll have people intercede. We'll have people pray through the spiritual realm before we can have some physical manifestation. So a lot of us have hope that we know that God is working all of this together for our good. We know. And then if you look through scriptures in Philippians, Paul says, I know that this will turn to my salvation through your prayers and the supply of the Spirit. So all of the solutions and the way forward that we have in this season starts from spiritual interactions, and that comes with prayers and the supply of the Spirit. So whatever is going to turn to our good. So we'll quote Romans and say, for we know all things. But then that's chapter verse 28, Romans 8:28. In 27, verse 27, it says the Holy Spirit is the intercessor. So when the Holy Spirit, pulls through with intercession, then we know that all things work together, right? Or let me read it, Romans 8, so that you can see what I'm trying to say. Romans 8:27. It said, and he that searcheth the heart knoweth what is the mind of the Spirit, because he maketh intercession for the saints according to the will of God. So there needs to be an intercession for the saints according to the will of God before we can now claim 20 years that says, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. All right, so we know that the Spirit of God is making intercession for the saints according to verse 27, Romans 8:27. The Spirit of God is making intercession according to the will of God, and then we know that all things work together. So if all things are going to work together for our good, there is an intercession that precedes that. There is an intercession according to the will of God. And so what I'm saying this morning is, would you contribute your voice to the spiritual interaction and intercession that is going on, so that we can see a manifestation of all things working together for good for those who love God and are called according to his purpose? This podcast is not going to be long. Do you understand? So voices are being, for a lack of a better word, they're being put together, okay, in the spiritual realm, so that we can experience a birthing in the physical realm. So you can contribute your voice of progress in the spiritual realities, in the spiritual realm. So this is the time to pray and intercede. Intercede and pray for the nations, pray for the church, pray for the lost, pray for people all over the world. What you are doing, see, most times when we pray, we think nothing is happening because we are not seeing any physical manifestation yet. No. It is in the spiritual realities that things are cooked before we see it in the physical. So when you pray, you are contributing to the spiritual interactions and intercession that is going on. And that is what will birth the physical reality. So if you're going to have problems solved in this season, if you're going to have businesses and innovation erupt, trust me, sometimes that's physical manifestation may not even be through you, but you were the one that birthed it in the Spirit. You were the one that pushed it through in the Spirit. And as you were pushing it through, you're pushing it through into the earth. All right? So you're pushing it through into the earth, and when you push it through to a point, then God will be able to plant that seed into another person's heart. The thing is that you may not have what it takes to be the one to physically manifest it, but you are the one that carried it in a spiritual gestation period. So if there's a burden in your heart to pray in this season, don't say, what can I do? I'm just a student. What can I do? I'm just a housewife. What can I do? Does it make any difference? Yes, it makes a whole lot of difference that you are contributing to the spiritual realities and you are spiritually gestating. I hope that's the word. But you are spiritually carrying seeds that when it comes to a point that is matured enough, it becomes spread into the heart of somebody else that has the capacity to birth it in the physical realm. Do you understand? So if something needs to be birthed in the medical world, you're not a medical doctor, right? But you can be the one that will spiritually carry that idea till it becomes somebody's medical reality. So God may be laying upon you the burden for your environment in your heart. And as you are praying for it, you just see that some things begin to erupt around you. It might have been that those are the seeds that you carry. So being a voice of progress starts spiritually, okay? So push your voice through in the Spirit. Push your voice through. If your burden is to pray, pray. Don't say prayer works. Prayer works. Some things that people do physically was as a result of someone else's prayer and intercession. So don't commonize prayer in this season. It is through the spiritual that we will burst the physical realities that we need to progress us into the will of God. Or let me say more accurately, to manifest the will of God in this season, okay? That's one. Then number two, the physical manifestation, the physical voices, the voices that we will see. So there are some voices that we will never see. There's some voices that we will not see, but there's some voices that we will see, and that could be your voice. So let me share. I think yesterday, no, from Sunday actually. Wow, that's interesting. By night, I just saw this verse in Genesis 45 about Joseph. You know, and this is specifically for some people, honestly. And I realized that, let me just read scriptures briefly. Genesis 45. And then, it says, when Joseph when his brothers came and he had done all the pulling of the tricks, okay, you can go ahead and read Genesis 46, 45, 40, 42, 43 and all. And then when his brothers showed up, and they were so sorry, they were like, oh my God, we are so sorry, we did. And then he now said something. He said, verse 5, let me start from verse 5. And he says, now therefore be not grieved nor angry with yourselves that you sold me hither, for God did send me before you to preserve life. For these 2 years had the famine been in the land, and yet there are 5 years. Where am I? In which there shall neither be hearing nor harvesting. And God sent me before you to preserve you a posterity in the earth, and to save your lives by a great deliverance. Now we all know the story of Joseph, and a faithful God that knew that there will be famine in the land. Yes, made his brothers to sell him into slavery. And he felt like, oh my God, what kind of life progress is this? What kind of, I don't know, what kind of life work is this? What kind of deviation from my vision is this? This is a man that saw that his fathers and his brothers, they bow down to him, and then this same man is carried in captivity and sold by these same brothers. Talk of deviation from a vision, right? But then these are years later. Sorry, these are years later, and this same man is able to say to his brothers, because now he can understand, he's seeing the reality of the process, or the essence of the process. He said, guys, don't be angry. Don't be sad. Okay? God intentionally puts me through this path using you so that I can preserve life. And so what is going out from me this morning is that there are so many of us that our path looked like it did not go the right way. Career issues, there are some people that somehow they got sacked at work, and that's why they started a business. There are some people that there was something else they wanted to study, and now they went to study something else. And there are some people that even what they wanted to study and they are studying, it looked like it was a miserable life. Like, what am I doing here, for crying out loud? How did I get myself here? But I want us to look at it. God is calling us to look at it again today. Could it be that you went through that path to preserve life, especially during this crisis? Because there are some information, there are some strategies, there are some things you know now that you know only because you went through that path. But those information, they are like life-saving information for this period. And it is a call to look inwards, a call to look at my life path, my career path, like I would say it, my life work path. How has it prepared me to be an answer for this season? Let us not be carried away. I can imagine a Joseph carried away with the fact that, I am sure fine. I have been able to solve the problem. I've been able to, in fact, this is the time for me to suffer them, like pepper them gang. This is the time to suffer them. Shebi, they were the one that put me through this. I will show them. But Joseph saw it in another light. He said, God sent me through this route. Even though he used you guys, he sent me to preserve life. And so I want you to start looking. Could it be that my past up until this time has prepared me to be an answer for this season? So let me give you a perfect example. Someone like me, the way my career path has gone, let me tell you, is like moving from one form of career crisis to another. And somehow, I have been able to, even if it's distill how to maximize crisis. So, for example, now I was transiting from leaving med school to a path that I don't even know. It wasn't that pleasurable. It wasn't easy. It wasn't like I knew what to do. It wasn't like I knew what's next. And it wasn't like I had all the support in the world. I had so many oppositions and all. But somehow I pulled through. And that has somehow helped me to be able to distill some strategies and some experiences and some information as to how you do such transitions in crisis. So, transiting in career based as in crisis, where you don't even know what is next. You don't even know what is going to happen the next time. I had to face the possibility of being a dropout in school. I had to face the possibility, leaving medical school, for crying out loud, it looks like you're a stupid person. So I kind of was leaving something more secure, something more promising, to something that had even no form, that was without form or void. I had no idea where I was going. It wasn't like I know, okay, so when I finish this, I'll not do this, I'll not do this, I'll not do that. But right now, you look like, oh my God, Ife, you knew exactly what you were doing. You moved from med school, you went to sociology, you did medical. No, I did not know. I had no idea. But somehow I have learned how to transit. Also, leaving med school, coming back, okay, so what would I do with my master's? Okay, when I did my master's, will I do my master's? Will I not do my master's? Will I do my PhD? I have to leave a job after a year? What am I supposed to do? Why should I leave the job? Why should I not leave the job? If the sensible thing was to continue, you know what? And this transitioning up and down with my career, and also with the fact that I'm a mother, and then even all the crises I've had to go through emotionally, mentally, especially in transition. Hey, these things have prepared me to be an answer to some people that will be going through the same thing right now because of this crisis. Yeah, some people are even going through it, whether there was a COVID-19 or there wasn't a COVID-19. But right now, there are even some people that the reason why they are going through any career crisis right now is because of COVID-19, and they have no idea, what am I supposed to do in my life? What is supposed to happen? Some people now, because they're out of jobs, they're out of work. It looks like the future is bleak. And God somehow prepared me, took me through that path, right? So that I can be an answer to preserve life, to preserve careers. And so, it's right now I have a lot of assignments I want to do. I have a lot of things I want to do for clients. I have a lot of things I want to do for my PhD work. But I just find myself being, compelled to put together a lot of things that I know that is going to be helpful for a lot of people in this season. And so it is my admonition to you this morning. What has God prepared you to give people in this season? Maybe your profession has prepared you to help people through medical things this season. Maybe your position, hope you know that a lot of people are home right now. So, for example, I'm in Ibadan. UCH is technically on lockdown because you can't go for clinics, you can't go for things that are not emergency. So it's only emergency cases that you can have right now. And then maybe there are those that are already on the ward. Meaning there are people at home right now that should be going for clinics and they cannot go for clinics. How has your pathway, how has the way you have gone prepared you to be of help to those set of people? Meaning that there are better people in the house right now that needs, he's doing me like this, or he's doing me like that too, but I can't go for clinic. Do you understand? What am I supposed to do with my drugs? What am I supposed to, what are the signals and the signs that I need to know if this is now an emergency? They don't even know. And God has prepared you, taking through that path to be the answer, the voice that preserves life. Remember, Joseph said, do not be angry. So I know that it's not been easy for you. So I'm not saying that you are going to be preserving lives. You're going to be a voice to the nations, to the people right now because it's convenient. Neither am I saying it because you feel good about it. In fact, there's so many things you don't feel good about right now that is the reason why you need to speak out. There's so many things that you have suffered. And that is what positioned you to be the answer in this season. Don't keep quiet. Like John the Baptist, he said, I am the voice of one crying in the wilderness. Sheguma Konjola, hey, how are you? You know, it says, I'm the voice of the one crying in the wilderness, right? John was the voice of one. One, the voice of one. And you are the voice of one. There is a voice on your inside waiting to come out in this season. And I implore you and I challenge you to say it. Please don't commonize what you have in this season. Say it out for free. Say it out for a fee. Whatever it is, just be the voice of one, saying whatever God has supplied you with, say it, act it, do it. If you have money to give it. If you have food to give around, give it. If you have, that is your voice, the voice of one. The voice of one. Don't keep quiet in this season. If you have advice to give it. If you have products, books that you've been thinking about, struggle to finish it in this season and push it out. If you have ideas, what you think, even if it's just what you think, it may not even be that, I have tried it, I'm a certified expert in this area. This is not the voice of the expert. This is the voice of one crying in the wilderness. John the Baptist was in the wilderness. It did not look like it was a big deal or it was a real deal, but the truth is he was the one preparing the way of the Lord. So you never can tell what your voice is doing to preserve a life in this season. Let me read that verse again. Genesis 45 verse 5. It says, now therefore be not grieved nor angry with yourselves that ye sold me either, for God did send me before you to preserve life. God has sent you through a pathway right now to preserve life. There are families right now that needs to be preserved because now husbands and wives are very, they're in proximity and all the faults are coming out. All the fact that they cannot live together, that they have been avoiding all this while with work, is now coming out. Are you going to be the voice of the one that preserves that life? There are people that are sick right now. There are people that are having emotional issues right now. There are people that are having suicidal thoughts right now. Will your voice be the one to preserve life? Whatever you know in this season, don't keep quiet about it. Whatever your pathway has taught you before this season, maybe this is the season to be the voice of one. God bless you. Have a beautiful day. You are preserved.